The best salespeople in the world are the ones who do it without you even noticing. Everyone's a salesperson, especially if you're an entrepreneur. In the I'm Not Salesy podcast, join me, Cassie McKenzie, and my fabulous guests as we dive into the top strategies, mindset, and energetics around sales and money so that you can hear more "yes, I'm in" instead of crickets or getting ghosted. So if you're ready to fully book out your programs with aligned AF clients and have people chasing you down in your inbox asking how to work with you, then subscribe to this podcast today and become not salesy too. This one's going to be short and sweet, but very, very powerful. If you want to know how to seriously 10x your business and make sales super freaking easy, like something you can do in your sleep, then this is going to be the ticket. This is something that I realized early on in my sales career, but when I started with my own business, it was like I just forgot it overnight. It was crazy. And so it's so weird when you start in a corporate world and you have these unspoken rules and ways of doing things. And then you go out and you start your own business and you're operating your business and you're growing your business, but then like this subconscious programming that of you in your personal life as you've been your whole life starts to really take over. And so what I noticed was I was so disconnected from my bigger vision because I was programmed to always look for quick wins, like getting the straight A's in the 9-week marking period, so that then the next quarter I do it and the next quarter I do it. And then I'd end up with a straight A for the year. I could take the summer off, take the pressure off, and then start back up. So I went through these seasons of pressure. And so I carried that into my business too. And I've noticed that it makes you have such a small vision. It literally takes you, because as a kid, you might be like, I want to be a doctor one day, but you're not thinking about that when you're taking your math test. You're just trying to get through your math test. So when you start your business and you're selling offers and you're selling ways to work with you or selling products that you care about, it's easy to get disconnected from the bigger vision that you have or to not even realize that you need one. And this bigger vision is really that thing that gets you dressed in the morning. It gets you out of bed. It makes you have a bigger context for what you're doing each and every day, which is, a cornerstone of manifestation, right? It's a cornerstone of having that why and being really pulled towards the desire that you have and the thing that you really want. It's what allows you to forget about the fact that you have to have a daytime job before your business really takes off. But, aside from that, what you start to notice are like when you start to have a bigger context for what you're doing, and I'm going to be doing a couple of different episodes about this, but when you have a bigger context for why you do what you do each and every day, why you are in business, why you are offering these life-changing products and services to people, and you're connected to the life-changing way that it impacts the people you're selling it to, this is when you don't have any availability for the things that drain you, because it lights you up so much. It gets you that energy that normally you have to outsource. And when you can self-source this energy, you start to realize what parts of your life are draining you. Maybe it's relationships with certain people. Maybe it's consistent fights with the same people that keep going on. Maybe it's drinking beer every single night or on the weekends, like binge drinking, right? Maybe it is certain types of clients you've decided to work with just to make money. So when you start to notice the things that drain you, I'm going to give you the 3 areas that I started to look at. And when you can look at these 3 areas, this is going to change your life and your outlook and how connected you stay with your vision each and every day. Okay? Because this is the identity shift. This is the identity shift. Your vision can't be, I want to make $1 million or I want to make $1,000 every single day. It has to be deeper than that. It has to be more context than that. It has to be so meaningful to you that it is so fulfilling and you don't feel like there's no shred of you that's trying to prove something to you or to someone else. Your success in a day-to-day doesn't make you feel extremely better about yourself than the lack of success did the day before made you feel like shit. Like you just don't have these ups and downs because you're seeing your own worth at the core of it. And so these are the 3 areas in terms of what's draining you. These are the things, because unless you can so the things that drain you are going to completely prevent, your big vision from being realized. And it's also going to cause you to lose momentum of that desire, momentum of you not dropping out and looking to see how far, how much money have I made yet this month, when you see somebody say, oh, it's already 9K and we're only on the 3rd of the month, right? Those sorts of things, if you're paying attention to that, those sorts of things are really going to take you out. So here's what to pay attention to, these 3 areas. 1, you have to look at noticing and being aware of the things that completely drain you, right? The things that are taking any kind of energy, leaking any kind of energy from your pure potential, from seeing the pure potential that you have to succeed. All right. And so you have to either decrease these as much as possible. All right. So I think about this as a mom. Sure. Yeah. My kids, let's just say when they're sick and I don't sleep very well, that's draining, right? But of course I'm going to keep taking care of them. So that's not what I'm talking about here. What I may talk about here is maybe the kids stay up too late at night and there's no boundaries around when bedtime is. So if bedtime takes 30 minutes, then you're putting yourself to bed at 10 o'clock. If your kids go to bed at 9:30, bedtime takes 30 minutes, you're putting yourself to bed at 10, and then you still want to read or you still want to do your breath work, and then that pushes it to 11:30, your cortisol is hitting another peak, and so you're like, holy shit, I'm starting from behind, right? So these sorts of things, maybe what the baby step here is that you change the bedtime to 9, and maybe you shorten the amount of time that it takes to do the story and do the prayers and do the brushing of the teeth and all of these things, and then laying in bed and hypnotizing them to sleep so that they sleep well and all of that, right? Now you know what our bedtime routine might be like. So but in the case of maybe staying up late at night, maybe drinking a couple of beers or 3 beers every day, or, going and having, having happy hour that starts at 12 in the afternoon on a Saturday and doesn't end till 10 at night, and then on Sunday, you're just drained. And then on Monday, you're still recovering. This is not how you're going to grow your business very quickly, right? And don't get me wrong, I love doing that myself, especially football season. Hello. It's really hard sometimes to say no, or it has been in the past, but you can do it, because the next part is change the hierarchy of importance. All right. Maybe it's more important for you to do that inner work on a Saturday morning and a Saturday afternoon. And it's not so important to always have to have the first drink at 1 o'clock in the afternoon watching football. Maybe you can wait till 5 or 6 and then have, a fraction of what you would and still feel good about yourself the next day. I'm just using this as an analogy for this episode because, I think it's pretty pertinent this time of year. Hello, we live in the South, right? Or I do. And at the beach, there's always a party. So change the hierarchy of importance of what are these parties and do I really need to go to all of them? Okay. Also, the other thing you can do is reframe it as temporary and do everything you can in your power to get rid of it as soon as possible. So one that comes to mind here is if you have to do a 9-to-5 job in order to be able to fund your business, that's eventually going to replace the income from that 9-to-5 job. In this case, Instead of being like, oh, I've got to do my job and this is taking energy away from me, just say something like, okay, but this is temporary because I'm using this as an opportunity to fund my real passion, which is my business. And my business, I'm setting it up. My bigger vision is that it supports me with more money than I know I can even wrap my head around right now, that I'm able to have such freedom of time and travel and finances and everything, and be able to support my family and say goodbye to the 9-to-5 job. And I'm committed to doing everything in my power to transition out of the 9-to-5 and into this business. So I'm going to put everything I can towards my business and make that a priority over what people at work think of me. And maybe they notice you show up differently, but then also online, you're showing up differently because your hierarchy has changed there, and you've reframed this situation as temporary instead of permanent. This job doesn't have to be permanent. It can be temporary. Okay. So notice where your line of this in the sand moment is right here. This is it. We are going into 4 months left in the year, and it's up to you to decide what you're available for and where your boundaries are and what needs to be adjusted, and be honest and gentle with yourself about it. This isn't to shame yourself. This is to find the opportunities that are there right now. There is energy there right now for you. It's aligned with your vision. Maybe you need to do the steps to go deeper with your vision and to have your nervous system aligned with that. Getting in touch with your intuition more so that you can actually see what you're meant to be doing, and you can actually see what that vision is and have it just come out, the creativity in it just come out immediately, instead of you having to barter back and forth between your logic and your emotional side of you and your intuition. So I would love, tag me, screenshot this episode and tag me. I would love to hear from you and what came up for you and what you're committed to changing, so that 2 months from now, your life looks completely different. Maybe 2 weeks from now, your life looks completely, maybe 2 hours from now, your life is totally different. And you go to bed saying, I'm a different person today than I was yesterday. Love you. And I will see you in the next episode.